Hello, welcome. A happy Wednesday. You are on the Heart of Success show, and I'm your host, Larissa Vakulina. I go live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. South Australian time. And here on this show, I redefining success in terms of having a look at all areas of our life and how we can be successful in many areas, not only our professional or business life, but also in our relationships, in our healing, in our hobbies, relationship with children, in our friendship. So you name it. Today, I have a very special episode because today I have a very special guest with me, Ebony Moore. She is an amazing, inspiring, and motivational speaker, and also she is empowering women, and she's a self-confidence coach. She is a certified life coach, and also she is a CEO and founder of the Enchanted Reflections Modeling Studio. So we have Ebony here with us today. And we would like to talk and cover a lot of things about women and how we sometimes really suppressing our own inner genius and how we don't have that confidence that can propel us and make us contributing to our own life and also the life of other people. So, Ebony, I would like to ask you a number of questions. There's amazing area and amazing details of your biography and your profile that really intrigued me in many ways. And how did you, and also I know you have your family. I would like to ask you, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your profile, your family, and how did you get into the space of empowering other women?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Larissa, for having me on. This is such an honor, and I don't take it lightly for just the invitation of being on your show. So thank you so much for that. And yes, I would definitely love to tell you about myself and how I got to where I am. I am a mother of 4 children, and they're stair steps. So they're 13, 14, 15, and 16 years old. 2
Wow.
boys, 2 girls. And I've been married, it'll be 17 years in May. And so my life is already super busy, especially with teenagers. And I'm always all over the city, different schools, different activities. But the way I began my journey is when I started modeling when I was a teenager. I got married as a teenager. We got married at 19. And so we started our family immediately after that. Well, I was in the prime of modeling when I met my husband. And so me starting a family and my kids being stair-step children, I kind of had to put my dreams on hold for a while. And so in the midst of me being a wife and a mom, I completely lost my identity. And I won't say I lost it. I'll say I willingly gave it up. We said it a lot. We're like, oh, I lost my identity. I lost this. But we didn't lose it. We willingly gave it up because in the midst of us taking on all these other hats, we didn't realize that we were shrinking ourselves, because we're making all these other things much bigger than us. And so I'll just say that. So I relinquished my identity during that time of my life. And so I realized when I was raising my girls and raising my boys and they began to figure out who they were, I had to realize, wait a minute, I forgot who I am, and so I kind of began my journey doing that and raising my children. So my kids are all into theater, they're into acting, modeling, and they're just me all over pretty much,
Wow.
And so Atlanta is right up the street from us. So we began to travel a lot up and down the road to Atlanta, just for the kids to do shows and auditions and stuff like that. And so I reached down inside of me and I realized that, wait a minute, I still have this passion still brewing inside of me just as much as they do. And so I began my modeling studio last year in the midst of COVID. And because, you know, when you know it's time to do something, you know it's time to do it, right? When you feel led to move, you got to move when you feel the lead. So
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
did. Yeah.
I just want to stop on here because I really love how you said it. The importance of what you said is really, I would like to stop and just give our listeners a
Okay.
little bit more. You said that we never lose our identity. We only just forget. And sometimes we willingly to allow
Mhm.
all things and everyone around us to basically take it from us. And this
Right.
is really where the importance is, that a lot of women don't know that they have it. They think that they fully immerse themselves in the family life and children and husbands, and
Mhm.
they really become almost like empty, right? So
Mhm.
the importance of you saying we never lose it,
Right.
it's only that we lose the awareness, I guess, of
Right.
having that,
Love
right?
it. Definitely. Love that. Yes, we lose the awareness of it. You're right.
Mhm.
Absolutely right. And so in rebuilding who I was and figuring out who I was as a mom and as a wife was totally
Mhm.
different than who I was before, right?
Mhm.
So I began my journey in building my studio, and in the midst of all of that, I started realizing that I was more than a mom. I was more than a wife. I was more than a medical assistant, because that's what I do during the day.
Mhm.
And I started to realize that all that power that I had pushed down inside of me, that boss that I like to say so much, I realized that it was still there. And it was just like, I was still impregnated with it. I'll say that.
Mhm.
And so I
Yeah.
had been carrying around this baby for longer than 12 months, obviously. And
Mhm.
I needed to give birth to this new identity, to this new project, to this new baby that I was carrying. And so in the midst of all of that, raising my family, being a wife, you know, and a mother, I realized that it was just as much as important for me to raise me as it is my children. It was just as much as important for me to show up for me as it was for me to show up for my husband. And
Mhm.
so in that journey, I realized that confidence was the number one key that I was lacking, right? Because I could
Right.
show up for everybody else, I could build up everybody else, but I didn't lose who I was, but I lost that fire that I felt when I was a teenager and I was modeling and I was in the industry, and I had
Mhm.
so much oomph and I had so much zeal to who I was, right? Because
Mhm.
we all know, like, the youth, the body and the skin and that perfect shape is wasted on the youth because they don't know what to do with it, right? Like, after we
Absolutely.
have children and we get older, we're like, wait a minute, let me get that back. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
so as I began to regain all of that back and began to rebuild all of that within me, that's when I noticed that my confidence level was definitely not there anymore. And I have a modeling studio now. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to definitely incorporate confidence etiquette in my studio, because that was why my mom put me in modeling and got me into it when I was younger anyway, because she saw that there was a lack thereof, right? And so
Mhm.
that's what we do. That's what we do with our kids. We see where they're lacking and we try to make up and we try to build them and we try to give them all these tools. Well, as women, we need to do the same thing for us. You know, like I
Mhm.
said, we make everything else bigger than us, and we forget that, hey, I'm still here. I'm still that little girl that was modeling. I'm still that pretty girl that, you know, you fell in love with every time you woke up in the mirror. And so now that's what I give back to women when I'm coaching them. That's what I give back to my models when they're in the studio. Listen, that moment that you woke up and you said, hey, this is what I love about me. This is what I love about my hair. It's what I love about my skin. That person is still there. So now as women, I give that back to them in the sense of, hey, when somebody fell in love with you, they loved you for everything that you were. They loved you for everything that they saw. So you have to fall back in love with who you are as well, right? And we have to figure out who we are now versus who we used to be. And there's nothing wrong with that, because everything evolves, everything in the world changes, everything in the world rotates, and, you know, like they say, everything comes back around 360, but like fashion. But
Yeah.
as a woman, we don't rotate back around 360. We evolve, we get better, we grow. And so in building you as a woman, you have to realize the first thing about loving you is you have to acknowledge you. And I think sometimes we really forget to acknowledge who we are. You know, we don't want to say, hey, I'm here. Hey, you know, I still need love, because we feel like it's more important to give that attention. We feel like it's more important to give that love to everybody else, and we don't give it to us. So yes, my first part of my journey was to acknowledge that I needed to rebuild my confidence. I needed to rebuild who I was and fall back in love with me. I
Mm,
hope I answered your
that's
question.
yes, absolutely. Like
Okay.
it's a really, really resonates with me because I'm working with women that are yes, losing the awareness that they
Mhm.
always connected to that powerful place within themselves, but because they kind of, you know, they suppressing that connection, and they trying to be successful in the by the definition of our society, like, you know,
Right.
you need to have the figure, you need to have these certain things, you
Yes.
need to do this, oh, and basically it is a really, really deep, distorted belief that
Mhm.
women are carrying within our nucleus, I would say the nucleus of the cell,
Right.
which we slowly need to start to get out and break through that vicious cycle of
Right.
saying, well, no, we have this uniqueness, we have this power, and
Oh, definitely.
what you're doing is really amazing because you have this studio, you have the podcast, you have your work, you have your children, your family. You basically you holding it all together, and you know, you showing the light to other women to really you know, sit back and ask themselves, well, who am I here, and
Mhm.
how can I express myself in a much better way? So can you maybe explain a little bit more about what your studio is doing? How do you, you know, how do you interact with your models or students or whatever? And do you use your life coach skills of doing it? Right? It's like
Sure.
that. You know, the tools needs to be all around
And
with.
smile. They
Yes.
do, definitely. So in my studio, I always bring in different speakers. We have different speakers every Monday, and it's always about some form of etiquette. So we do business etiquette, we do confidence etiquette, we do table etiquette, resume etiquette, how they need to be able to go on callbacks or go sees in the industry. So we do a lot of different things, and then we also have the classes for modeling, acting, body art, makeup. So we pretty much give them all of the tools that they need for the industry. But then I also make sure we have that balance, like you said, you got to have the balance. So I definitely make sure we have the balance of building them back up. You know, most of them are youth or teenagers, so they're coming from school, and we all know, like you said, being in this society, being in this world, it has its own tolls on us. It affects us in every kind of way. So I make sure the first thing we do is when they get there, you know, either do a yoga to relax the body, relax the mind, to clean out their auras, and to get away from all the impurities that they've ingested throughout the day.
Yeah.
And so that's one of my main goals every time they enter into my studio. Is like, listen, all of those auras that you don't want, we got to get them off, because we can't be this great person on this runway or in these pictures if we're holding on to something that doesn't belong to us. And a lot of times we pick up other people's aura, we pick up other people's spirits, or, you know, negativity or whatever. And we don't know how to cleanse ourselves. We don't know how to get away from it. And it's like, you know, that's just one of the most important things for me. So I don't want to go too much in detail to that, but
Well, this is really interesting because to me, because you know, the world and actually everything is changing so quick and
mhm,
fast, and there's a new development happening in terms of the conscious business leaders, and the conscious
mhm,
businesses are started to be developed. And for me, this one is really resonates as a very conscious business that you
Yeah.
created because you know that everything and everyone is related and connected, and
Mhm.
everything and everyone is affecting everyone. So
Yes.
basically, you are having this a model of your business that is dealing not only with just particular skill of modeling, but it is
Right.
really embracing the whole person, and how you can help them to be able to respond in that expressionable way of showing who they really are. That I
Right.
really love that. That's
Thank
really
you.
amazing. So I also been, when I was reading your profile, there's an interesting sayings that you're saying, and I really was intrigued
Mhm.
in a very huge way, because I really would like you to explain what really does
Okay.
that mean. So for example, you said that focus on the result, not process. That's what you've been explaining, but maybe you elaborate a little bit more. uh,
Definitely. Yes. So we go through so many things in life that we don't realize the toll that it takes on us, right? So when you're going through, my favorite phrase, one of my favorite phrases is focus on the process, the results, not the process. Because when you're going through things, we feel like this is it. We feel like the walls are closing in. I can't deal with anything else. Life has thrown me this huge curveball, and this is it. We throw up our hands, we throw up the papers, and we run for cover. If you only focus on what you can see, you'll never be able to get to the results, right? If you can only focus on what you can touch and what's around you, you'll never be able to see the greater things that are on the other side of that. So yes, I say that a lot, especially in my studio, because I don't want the youth, I don't want the women that I talk to, I don't want them to be constrained to just one situation, because life is going to throw us a lot of different situations. We're going to find ourselves in so many different things that we have no control over. But when you succumb to those things, it's the problem, right? Don't succumb to your situations. Don't succumb to your circumstances, because it's going to happen. Like I just said, everything is a revolving door in life. Things are going to come at you all the time. Focus on the results. The result of it is you're going to come out bigger. You're going to come out better. You're going to come out greater. You're going to come out stronger. That people say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, I mean, that's kind of true, because when you're going through things, you're building all these emotional muscles, right? We're building up everything inside of us that helps us fight off everything. So like our bodies, God created our bodies to be natural healers, to be natural fighters. We have our own immune system. We don't have to take all of these different vaccines and all this other stuff, because our body does what it's supposed to do. Well, when you're going through circumstances and situations, your emotions do what they're supposed to do. And if you don't allow yourself to succumb to those things and let them take you under, when you come out, you'll realize, oh my God, like I didn't know I had that in me. I didn't know I could fight this off me. I didn't know that I could build up a resistance to things that break me down emotionally. So that's why I say that, because if you focus on the process, you'll never get anything accomplished. I would have never, if we focus on being pregnant with babies, we would never see the baby, right? We would get stuck in the pregnancy. No, you got to see the baby. So you got to go through the process.
Absolutely. I love that, because, yes, I mean, when we are, find ourselves dealing with these little details every day in the process, and we
Mhm.
become really frustrated, then we become overwhelmed, and then we go to the road, to the, burnout, and wherever this is the process does. But when we hold that bigger picture within ourselves, when we actually trust the process, but we
Right.
hold that focus on the result, what we want. It's really a much more smoother journey, right?
It
So
is.
that's really is. I'm so excited to see that people start to really realize that that creating anything, and that creative process is really within ourselves. We
Mhm.
cannot even suppress it. We need to start to let
Right.
this expression of who we are to get out of us, and really trust that we are so powerful, and women like you is doing it. This is really is the validation that we are so
Right.
amazing, right? There's
Right.
another things that I really want to ask you. What does
Okay.
that mean? Where there is zero distance between you and it is for you. So
Oh man.
what do you refer for this saying?
So for this quote of mine, it means if you can touch it, it's yours. So you don't have to wish it. You don't have to dream it. If you can touch it, it's yours. Now, I couldn't physically touch my modeling studio because I had nothing there. I had to create it, right?
Mhm.
But we fight so much for the physical things. We fight for cars, we fight for houses, we fight for the dollar, we fight for the clothes. That's what I mean. If you can
Mhm.
physically touch it, it belongs to you already. So that's not what you need to put your energy into, right?
Mhm.
One of my podcasts that I just did recently was ditch the side hustle, ditch the hustle. We
Yes.
hustle all our lives for physical things. No, you don't need to hustle for something that you can physically touch. If there's zero distance between you and that house, it belongs to you. If there's
Mhm.
zero distance between you and that car, go get your dream car. But the things that you can't physically touch are the things that we need to put our energy into. So that's what I
Yeah.
mean by that. Yeah.
That's really amazing. Yes.
Thank you.
There's another one. Some of our best motivations come wrapped in sandpaper.
Oh man,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This one it
Yes.
really resonates with me, and I guess there's a lot of people are also in that space. I mean, the life we all go through life with, hopes and beliefs and all of these desires and wants,
Right.
and then we kind of get sometimes we hit the wall, and then we don't know what to do. So we basically cannot go back, but we need to go through that wall to purify and find out within ourselves that strength of moving forward. And yes, it's like a sandpaper around us. So
Mhm.
can you maybe explain a little bit more?
Sure. So, what came to me with that was because of my journey in my marriage. So, like I said, me and my husband got married at 19 and we went through a lot. I mean, we pretty much raised each other.
Yes.
Right? So, in that part of my life, it was really hard. Emotionally, physically, we went through a lot. And so I felt like I had nothing left. I felt like I had nothing to offer. I felt
Mhm.
like I couldn't look at myself. But out of that came who I am today. And so that's kind of what I meant by, you know, when you're going through the process and you don't know who you are, and we try to look back at who we used to be, it doesn't matter who you used to be because that person made you who you are today. So that sandpaper rubs you and it burns you, but it's peeling off everything that you don't need. And so it's hard, right? It's hard to deal with it. It's hard to listen to it, but there goes all of those emotional muscles that we need to build, right? So when we hit a wall, like you said, and we listen to people tearing us down, and we listen to people telling us what we can't be and who we should be and what I should look like, and you had 4 babies, your body should have bounced back a long time ago. No, and
Yeah.
what society tells us how we should wear our hair and how my skin should look and how I should dress every day because of my size or whatever. Those things hurt, and we don't realize that it's constantly peeling off those layers, right? It's unwrapping all of these layers that we're wrapped up in. But once you shed all those layers, it's like a snake shedding its skin, or a diamond being made into a diamond, right? Like once you shed all of that stuff, it's glorious underneath it. It's something amazing underneath it. So yeah, we don't want to hear all that stuff. We don't want our feelings hurt. We don't want to be broke down. We don't want to be tore down emotionally and physically and mentally. But when you come out of it, it's what you bring
Mhm.
out of it that makes you what you are, right? So that's why I say, that sandpaper, we need it. Sometimes we don't want it, but we definitely need it. It's just revealing who we are to ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's just like it's really resonates with me. And when I am teaching my students, and when I'm reflecting back in my life as
Mhm.
well, because we all go through these stages. I call it polish your mirror, right?
Oh yes.
Because everything that is outside of us, reflecting back to us what we are. And if we create a lot of pain, suffering, conflicts, and things, well, this is really is the sign for us to start to polish the mirror,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
it's the same analogy as a
Yes.
sandpaper, polishing
Yes.
and peeling off all of this stuff
Yes.
that we don't need, and we eventually find that brilliance within ourselves. We found this the diamond,
Mhm.
the genius inside that is really really powerful. So
Right. And that's one of the
uh,
reasons. Oh, I'm
yes.
sorry. I was going to say that's one of the reasons why I named my modeling studio Enchanted Reflections, because of that reflection. Like you have to know who's looking back at you. You can't just look in a mirror and see just one sided. It's a two-way mirror. It's not double sided. It's you see me and I see you, right? But you got to know what you're looking at in order to understand and appreciate your reflection. So that's all I was just gonna say. That's the
Yes,
reason why I named my modeling studio Enchanted Reflections. Because
that's
I mean,
beautiful.
we're definitely enchanted creatures. Like we're something that can never be duplicated, right? We can't be remade
Mhm.
over. So yeah, like you gotta own your power, girl.
Yes, absolutely. It's just beautiful. Yes. There's another one. Don't put a period in your life where there should be a comma.
Oh wow, yeah, we do that every day. We do that every day. We do it with relationships, we do it on jobs, we do it in our marriages. We try to end things before it's time to be ended, or we try to start things before it's time to start things. You got to know when to, like the old song says, when to hold them and when to fold them, right? When to
Yes.
run and when to stay. But yeah, like we go through things in life. Um, we all have a journey. I'm trying to figure out how to put this. So we all have a journey, and we all hit bumps in the road. I am a not a suicide survivor. I don't want to say that wrong, but I definitely attempted suicide when I was a teenager.
Mhm.
And it was a point in my life where I felt like that was it. You know, I didn't need to live anymore. Nothing else mattered. First of all, I was a teenager, and that's why suicide is so high among teenagers, because your brain isn't done developing. And you don't really know, like you can't think outside of where you are. This box is so small and you're still developing. So, but I was definitely a teenager. I was a kid. And so I felt like at that moment is where I needed to put a period, right? And it was just a comma. I needed
Mhm.
to take a break. I needed to step back. I needed to say, help. I needed to cry out loud. And life is like that, regardless of what age you're at. We all hit that bump in the road. We all get to that stopping point where we're like, listen, I can't do it
Mhm.
again. I can't do this anymore. And I'm just, I love that saying, because
Yes,
it's
it's
okay to feel that way. It's okay to get there, but you got to
absolutely.
know it's not a period. It's just a
Mhm.
comma, because what
Yeah,
comes after that is the revelation that you can't get before it, right? So your revelation
mhm.
comes after your comma. So yeah.
Absolutely. Wow, that's really is beautiful, because I can resonate with you in terms of the suicidal kind of concept, which for you was at the teenager's age, and for me was already later in my life when I actually was very, very successful in my business, but I didn't really feel success inside of me. I was so unfulfilled. I was so unhappy, and I couldn't really connect this success that was here outside of me
Mhm.
into being successful inside. And that's where I got into the deep depression, and these thoughts start to visit me, right? But then, as you said, I paused and then I put the comma to get to understand myself a little bit more and see how and why these things happening, and start to ask a very, very serious questions about like, who am I here, what I'm doing here, like
Right.
all of these very, very deep questions. And yes, it is a constant commerce that we have in our lives, basically daily, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think we don't realize that. Like you said, you were an adult, and we don't realize when it's time to put that comma there. That means, yeah, you got to start asking questions like, how did I get here? What else is going to help me out of this? Like, what is important to me at this moment? What is not important to me at this moment? You definitely have to start asking yourself questions. You have to self-evaluate, and you got to get to the root of those issues and those problems.
Mhm.
Because if you don't, yeah, you're definitely going to put a period where it doesn't belong, and then you got
Mhm.
to start all over. That sentence has to start all again, right? You got to
Yeah.
start from scratch. But yeah, that was gorgeous. I love the way you put that. You definitely do. You have to ask yourself questions. You got to get to the root of the issue.
Absolutely. I also was really intrigued by your website. It is a Boss Wives, right? And your
Also,
name of your podcast is the Boss Wife. How did you come up with this name, and what really does it mean? Like, what do you translate in your podcast mainly?
so my podcast is definitely on confidence building for women in every area of life. When I first began the podcast, it was definitely about being a boss and being a wife, mompreneurs, and just trying to get yourself going and trying to juggle being a mother, a wife, and your own businesses. And so that's what my podcast is mainly about: is juggling all of those hats at the same time. Now, as women, we're born bosses. Okay, we're born to be able to run a household, to run a business, to run whatever we got to run. And so my podcast definitely helps you to own all of that, right? Like, don't leave nothing on the table. Girl, you get
Mhm.
all of that. Get all of that belongs to you. Like, don't let and I'm just gonna say, like, don't let a man take away your power, because
Mhm.
it's a man's world. I'm sorry, America is a man's world. So we have to realize that, listen, I am just as powerful. I belong at the same table that you belong at, and I'm going to get my seat, right? So that is what Bosswife.live stands for. That's what I talk about on there. I build up women in every area of life, every walk of life, every age of women that I can reach.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really
Thank
good.
you.
See, yeah, I put Ebony's details at the bottom here. You can really go and visit her website and also the podcast. And if you're really interested to know about her studio, just connect with her. That would be an interesting journey. I know exactly. I also would like to ask you. What can you I mean, like, we all right now in the world are going through a very, very difficult time. It seems like we all traumatized, we
Mhm.
all re-wounded again through all of these things that are external to us. We contracted, and we kind of navigating our way out of it with this really, really painful, distracted kind of wounding happening within ourselves. And we as women, we of course we have so much more of a sensitivity. We are so we bombarded by these energies that are really so sharp, so distorted. And of course, we run in households, we look after our children, we care about our husbands and ourselves, and it is all kind of, all of these hats, as you said, we wear in every day of our life. I would like to ask you, give three recommendations, or three kind of, uh, advice for women, how we can hold ourselves stronger, how can we do all of these things without collapsing, I would say.
Right, right. So my first suggestion would be to reject what is not for you. Don't accept anything that is not for you. Yes, we are surrounded by so much that's going on right now all over the world. Not to mention COVID is still here, you know, it's fading out slowly, but it's always going to be something, right? It's always going to be something going on. If it's not for you, don't accept it. You know, focus on what is important for you, focus on what is going to build you. That's what you need to put all of your energy and time and love into. That's my first suggestion. My second one would be definitely to love everything about you. It's so easy for us to love everybody that we take care of. It's so easy for us to love everybody that is around us. For me, by being in the medical field, of course, that's my first nature, right? I love everybody. I want to take care of everybody. I want to heal everybody. I want to make sure everybody's well and healthy. We don't do that for us, right? We wear ourselves down. We wear ourselves thin. And then we try to pick up the pieces, right, as we recover. No. So reject what is not for you and love you. For my last one, I would definitely say, regardless of what comes, stay focused. And I hope those three don't kind of run together. But
absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So stay focused. Know what you have to do. Know your purpose. Know your role, and stay in your lane and take on your priorities head first. Right. So reject what's not for you. Love you and stay focused.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes,
Thank you.
we sometimes just while we're doing a lot of things for everyone, we kind
Yes.
of forget about this really basic things that is a self-care and the basic needs that we need
Yes.
to really honor to give to ourselves in order for us to support everyone and
Mhm.
be strong for others and also for creating what we love. That's
Yes.
really is a connection to this. So everyone, this is the details. Ebony is having here her website, her podcast, and her email address. So if you're interested, she's also a very inspirational, motivational speaker. She speaks on the stage and also. She leaves this stage. She sets the every stage with confidence, passion, and exhilarating innovation of life. She leaves the stage with unyielding essentials of transformed thinking. So this is really very bold statement because, and this is a confirmation of your confidence, and this
Right.
is really attractive. So
Thank you.
maybe if you can explain a little bit more about your speaking engagements
Oh
and
yeah,
how.
definitely. So, normally, yes, when I'm invited to speak, it's definitely to come and motivate and to encourage and inspire. But when I come to the stage, I don't just come to build you up or to give you something that you've never heard. I come to encourage what's already there, right? I come to help you to dust it off, build it back up, make it pretty, and then help it to flourish. So I'm not just there to say, hey, I'm here to inspire you, and then once I'm gone, your fire's gone. I don't want to take it
Yeah.
back with me. I want to come and give you what you already have. Just remind you that, hey, girl, it's still there. Just let me help you dust it off, right? So that's what I do when I go and speak. And I love speaking. I love going to encourage and to boost and to build. And I'm also a servant at heart. If anything I can do to help anybody else's programs or events or whatever go forth, I will do it. Like I said, by being in the healthcare world, like that's my first nature is helping other people, taking care of other people. So I'm definitely not afraid to be there and help support anyone else as well. So if anyone is interested, yes, that is my email and my website for my podcast. And you can also find me, on Facebook, Instagram. I'm everywhere. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was really amazing to hear you from another part of the world. See, the
Yes.
technology is connecting us together, which is really, really nice. And again, as everything else, I'm talking and I'm teaching my audience and my students that everywhere needs to be a balance. So we need to be super careful and aware of how do we use technology, what we do with this, like with everything else in our life. If we are stretching our line of balance somewhere on one side or another, well, then our bodies are so amazingly designed, it will let us know that we are out of balance. So I would like to thank again Ebony to be here with me, and she's got really late hours where she is now, and I'm really grateful for you to jump here with me at that late hour. And hopefully we can do it again, maybe in a year time, and
Definitely.
see how that the process of evolving, growing, and developing, and what the result of it also. So I would like to say thank you, everyone, for supporting us. There's a few comments here. Yes, women lifting women, absolutely. MJ, thank you to be here. Yes, great show. Thank you for sharing, Ebony. So thank you for support as usual, guys. I will come back next Wednesday at 2 p.m. South Australian time, and I will be hopefully, maybe we'll have another guest with me, or if not, I'm gonna be solo. uh, right now I would like to put a little bit of music for us, and thank you so much.